Hello and welcome to my shop. This is Jim Dedman, Sawlogs Plastic Hubs. Hope you enjoyed today's video. We'll be doing something interesting, so hang around, let's have fun. Good morning. We're still working on the saw this morning. Let me make sure. I think that is a 1032 that's in there. Hang on just a second. We're going to, I don't know if that is or not. We'll see. One of the things I don't like, I think you've heard me say this several times, and it is I don't like hunting tools to do nothing. So we're working on the saw project this morning, and the saw's in a position that we're pretty well satisfied with it right now. As far as the stand and everything, and I'm in a kind of a holding pattern, waiting on a blade to try it out. I'm gonna paint the stand, by the way. So what we're doing this morning is one of the guards on the front of the saw uses a couple of 1032 screws to take them off, and you got to use a screwdriver. Well, you know me, I like to be able to change blades without having to go to the toolbox, so I'm going to whip out a couple of thumbscrews this morning, custom ones. So I've been over to the saw calculating, and I need this to be at least a ½ inch to give me what I want. So we're just roughing the fool out of this piece of aluminum down to get us about a ½ inch thumbscrew. And we're going to knurl this, drill and tap it, cut it off, make us a couple of thumbscrews this morning. We're going to make 3 this morning. We're going to make 2 of them for the saw front. That's a ½ inch. Let me go check and make sure. I'm going to throw a quick knurl on these as usual. When I'm knurling, I usually I use cutting oil even on aluminum just because I can, and it seems to work pretty good. Believe my center screw there's tight enough. I'm not getting the drive that I'm wanting. Let's see what we get going on here. Sometimes it's just hard to see with this. And I'm gonna get a good knurl across it. Oh yeah. A little bit more and I'll be good to go. Knurling to me is an art, and I just kind of make mine. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually make these a little 2 different lengths, just for convenience factor, and the fact that way I know I won't have an interference. I'm gonna make a short one and a long one. So that's the strategy this morning. So okay, we've got a knurl. I don't know if I've even turned the air compressor on this morning. Sure have. Okay. All right, let me let you go. What I've done here is I've taken the cutoff screw. Let me cut this off a second, so I have something that way I can find it, because I'm just gonna let it fall, but we'll just start this screw right softly in there, and oh, I'm telling you, I'm having one of them days today, people. Grab the wrong handle. I just took the cutoff tool and put the little feature here in the front. This allows me to have both hands, one for the cutting oil, one for this. Aluminum's fairly soft, so it'll cut right off. There we go. All right, so this one's ready, and we'll do the little feature on the next one too. We'll make it just a shade bit longer, so that way, what I'm gonna do is put the little feature on it. I don't even know what size I turned it down to. I just made a quick little feature right there just so that it'll have one, and really I don't much care what it looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and make this one just a shade bit. Now they'll be alright, like close to the same as I can there, the eyeball. And if this isn't critical, these are just thumb screws going on the front of the saw. Let me hold it just a second. Let me get the screw put in this one so I can catch it. Let the screw ride right here in the front. Might have to put the tap in it and sort of start it, because just so that I can get the screw in it. There we go. And just what I'm going to do is just put the screw in it to catch it with, and we'll cut this one here off just like we did the other one, and we'll have a pair of screws here. Hey folks, what I'm doing is making the big knob. Now I'm going to come back and finish the thumb screws in just a minute. I'm going to make another one for the outside edge, and so that I'll have one for each. I want to do this a little differently. What I'm going to do right now is take a cleanup cut, and this is going to be the part that I grab. And we're just going to take a big cleanup cut. Then we're going to approximately an inch deep. No. Well, let me look and see what I want to do here. So, I'm a pretty good wide handle. Let me just go a little further. That's good. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in about a quarter and make a step in it. And so again, these are approximate dimensions. Then I'm going to grab my calipers, and I'm going to turn this down to something like, what else? See what this is now. That's 2 inches. I'm going to turn this down to 1.5 inches or so, just for looks. So tell you what, the one thing about these lathes, they just don't have a lot of different speeds that you really need. Granted, this would be better if I had my aluminum insert in. And this is just such a short feed, I'm just going to feed it down by hand. And like I said, I'm just got my regular steel insert in, and I'm just too lazy to change it for a one-off aluminum job. One of these days I'm going to find it, I'm going to keep looking on eBay, I can find another tool holder, MCLNL cheap. I'll probably go ahead and buy it and fix it to put on the lathe just for aluminum. Like most hobbyists, I do a lot of aluminum work. See, I want to take this down about a 1/2 inch just to make a step. Just for looks. I'll bring you back in just a second. Okay, we're going to try to power tap this hole right quick. And again, anytime I tap or do anything, I'll move that. I'm going in about 1 inch. Okay. Typical. One thing about using this type of chuck, and I was just too darn lazy to change it, I'm gonna have to get the wrench. In case you're wondering, this is an Eagle Rock clone that was sold by Traverse Tool. That's what I use and constantly use, and I bought this a good bit back. Actually, it come off of eBay. Traverse was selling some stuff off eBay. This is probably an import that's made for Traverse off the Eagle Rock type pattern. But I'm gonna tell you, these scissor knurlers are just hard to beat. Whoa, man, that thing's moving. But they're hard to beat on little lathes, I'm telling you. And I'm just gonna knurl this thing a good ways. I'd rather be too much knurl in not an area than not enough. Again, this is going to be my handle. Boy, that looks good right there. Okay, we're going to part this off. Let me change speeds just a minute. Aluminum is a little bit more tolerant, so 200 will work with aluminum, which is a little more tolerant than steel. So let me get my rebar tool, get my file here. My handle done. And we're just going to get my hands over here and all this work. Let me move my hands so I can oil it and you can kind of see what's going on. One of the things I like to do is when I'm doing these, galling is always a problem with aluminum. And you notice I'm not worried about facing anything off after I face it. There's the reason behind it. You'll see in just a little bit. So we're just get you a little bit of goat juice down in there. And I tell you, I've had better luck on this with cut off aluminum with oil than I have with anything else, WD-40 or any of the light stuff. So I prefer it just lubricates the cut-off tool, the insert, so much better. These isn't, I'm not using that, but just real old inexpensive thing, good cut-off blades or something similar. This comes right off of eBay. Now, one thing is, when I made my rigid cutter, though, that's made all the difference in the world. Now, I'm not worried about this here lip right here, because we're going to deal with all this in a little while. Okay. Okay, I don't know how many of you my subscribers watch Everett's workshop up in Canada. Everett and I communicate a lot. He's really just a super nice guy. One of the things he did on just a recent video, he was making a thumb screw, and one of the things he did was take his thumb screw, just like I got in my hand, or not my hand, but take his thumb screw and he took some aluminum shims placed in his chuck. Well, I got a different methodology that I use. So, I'm making these thumb screws, correct? And you seen me just a few minutes ago do these 1032s that's going on the saw. So, what I do, you noticed I didn't even knock the burrs off the back or nothing. Well, there's a reason outside of complete laziness. Basically what I've done here, I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if I can zoom you in just a little bit. You can get I'll move you up and zoom you in. Get a little better view. hold on a minute. We may have to just completely reshoot this. There you go. Well, we are going to have to reshoot. Okay. Now, I'm going to start this over. Basically, what I'm doing here, and I'm going to thumb this off. I've got this zoomed in. When I make a thumb screw, first of all, I'm not going to say I'm lazy. I just don't like to do extra work. So one of the things I do is I've either got extending nuts, you know, where the long ones, or in this case I didn't have anything for a 1032, so I took a little piece of cold rolled and drilled and tapped it. Now this hasn't got to be precise as all get out because it's just a thumb screw. So what I've done, if you'll notice, it's just basically a little screw right here, and all I'm going to do is bring the lathe in, speed it up, and very carefully face the screw off. Looks like there's a little bit of a coating on this particular screw. The insert did not want to get in there and bite, so let's cut that off first. And all we do is just face this right off. And I may have shown this before in another video. If I have, I apologize. But basically, I didn't even take the burr off the back of the where the cutoff come through. The reason behind it is simply, all right. So now I have a nice little one-piece screw. Now that is Loctited in with the green Loctite. So all I got to do now is it's just a little tight. So I have to get this power pliers just hang loose. Now, okay, so this is the thumb screw basically, and this is going to go on the front of the saw. Okay, there's the little thumb screws. I'm going to try to get you a little better view of them. There they are. So these are the two I just made for that guard to replace the screws. The other one's still setting up so I can finish it. And once I get it set up from Loctiting, we'll have that one done. So now we're going to move on to something else we're working on. Okay, there we go. There's the finished screws I made. Now this one still's got to set a little bit. That Loctite's not what I'm wanting. This is to just that. These two are to put that guard on. We're still going to work on the other guards, and what I decided to do with the spring on the bottom is I'll show you in a minute. So now all I'm waiting on is a proper saw blade. I am working on some other stuff though. I hope you enjoyed the video. So let's put a disclaimer out of the way. This video is my idea how to do things. It's not the only way. So I hope you enjoyed it today. The other thing, comments are always welcome. Please take the time, if you feel so inclined, to make a comment on my videos. Also, I appreciate all my subscribers, the new ones and the new ones. And finally, the other disclaimer. This is a copyrighted production of James Dedman, Saw Logs Plastic Hubs, for your enjoyment on YouTube. Thank you. Have a great day, and we will see you in the next video.